by Pat Mead and James Yingling. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Operations in West Korea begin. From Cairo to Jamestown. During the latter part of March 1952, the 1st Marine Division, a component of the U.S. 8th Army in Korea, USAC, pulled out of its positions astride the Soyang River in east-central Korea and moved to the far western part of the country in the One Corps sector. There the Marines took over the USAC left flank, guarding the most likely enemy approaches to the South Korean capital city, Seoul, and improving the ground defense in their sector to comply with the strict requirements which the division commander, Major General John T. Selden, had set down. Except for a brief period in reserve, the Marine Division would remain in the Korean front lines until a ceasefire agreement in July 1953 ended active hostilities. The division's CG, Major General Selden, had assumed command of the 25,000-man 1st Marine Division 2 months earlier, on 11 January, from Major General Gerald C. Thomas while the Marines were still in the eastern 10 Corps sector. The new Marine commander was a 37-year veteran of Marine Corps service, having enlisted as a private in 1915, serving shortly thereafter in Haiti. During World War I, he was commissioned to second lieutenant in 1918 while on convoy duty. Between the two world wars, his overseas service had included a second assignment to Haiti, 2 China tours, and sea duty. When the United States entered World War II, Lieutenant Colonel Selden was an intelligence officer aboard the carrier Lexington. Later in the war, Colonel Selden led the 5th Marines in the New Britain fighting and was Chief of Staff of the 1st Marine Division in the Peleliu campaign. He was promoted to Brigadier General in 1948 and received his 2nd star in 1951, prior to his combat assignment in Korea. American concern in the 1950s for South Korea's struggle to preserve its independence stemmed from a World War II agreement between the United States, the United Kingdom, and China. In December 1943, the three powers had signed the Cairo Declaration and bound themselves to ensure the freedom of the Korean people, then under the yoke of the Japanese Empire. At the Potsdam Conference, held on the outskirts of Berlin, Germany in July 1945, the United States, China, and Britain renewed their Cairo promise. When the Soviet Union agreed to join forces against Japan on 8 August, the USSR also became a party to the Cairo Declaration. According to the terms of the Japanese capitulation on 11 August, the Soviets were to accept surrender of the defeated forces north of the 38th parallel in Korea. South of that line, the commander of the American occupation forces would receive the surrender. The Russians wasted no time and on 12 August had their troops in northern Korea. American combat units, deployed throughout the Pacific, did not enter Korea until 8 September. Then they found the Soviet soldiers so firmly established they even refused to permit U.S. occupation officials from the south to cross over into the Russian sector. A December conference in Moscow led to a Russo-American commission to work out the post-war problems of Korean independence. Meeting for the first time in March 1946, the commission was short-lived. Its failure, due to lack of Russian cooperation, paved the way for political military factions within the country that